Hello, hello, hello. I always forget to check this. And welcome to another One Lion of Code. I am One Lion. And there is an advert. Okay, no more advert. Advert, go away. We're looking out a window somewhere in Lake Sacandaga? Anyway, somewhere in New York in August of 2021. Around 1759. That does not look like it's almost 6 o'clock. Or maybe it does. I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Anyway, hi, welcome. Hope you are doing well. Happy Wednesday to you. It's a wonderful day to be a developer. Wonderful, wonderful. We're going to jump right in. We have been working on the redesign of the Stream Project Financial Management Tracker application. Feel free to check it out on GitHub. If you're interested in it, it's open source, and we've been trying to develop it as if a client hired us to do the full stack development process. And in that process, we did what full stack developers typically do, which is moderate design and then a whole bunch of implementation, and got it working really nice. It's got some cool features and functionality, but it didn't look fantastic. It didn't look great. So we role-played having a UI designer come in and redesign, for now, the landing page, and we're back to being developers, and we're implementing the UI that the designer came up with. And that's where we're at. So this is what it looks like in responsive mode. I was fairly happy with it. I used the technical term last time. I'm happy-ish with it. And what else? This is what it looks like. Right, so we kind of have been going back and forth with this overflow X issue, where it seems to get better and then it gets back to the same and then better and back to the same, but I'm trying to ignore it. But it is quite annoying. I have to figure it out eventually, so why not now? And the reason why not now is because we are getting pretty close to being done with implementing the UI design. And hello once again to you too, TBD. Early shout out, and then hopefully another one later for TBD Gamer. Fantastic .NET developer working on a project management application. Project planning and management. So it's going to be a really cool platform if he is able to get it to the point that he wants to, which is an actual product. He's been considering a lot of things and still working with it. So I'm glad that you haven't decided that it's just not worth pursuing, because I think it is. But he's been considering what are other applications or other solutions out there that already do this type of thing. What do they do? How is this different? How is this better? And he considers that, and it's really cool to see that, but I also want to see this as a product eventually, so I hope it never dissuades you from continuing. All right, so that's TBD. Oh, and he streams Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern Time, UTC-4 currently. I have my days, I would imagine, but you're doing great work. Why are you? What? Why is it highlighting the mobile thing? It's very weird. Is it because it was the last button that I clicked? Yeah. That was a very weird outline. It was odd. Okay, anyway. What are you doing? What's the camera doing? It's like chopping my head in weird ways. Or maybe it's just my hair. Who knows? I sincerely appreciate the support. Awesome. Glad I could offer some. Now then. ¿Dónde estamos? So the last thing that we did was we did a commit, probably because I was happy-ish with the medium viewport. Improve layout and responsiveness of various components. So I was making the claim that I rarely ever keep the GitHub comments commit messages that it generates, and now it's kind of like I'm doing the thing that I don't want people to do, and that's just accept whatever message AI spits at you. I do kind of look at it and be like, yes, that does describe it at least, but now I'm getting a little bit more lenient to how generic it can be. But I don't know that that's a bad thing, because I use too many words when I write it myself. And I get too specific about the commit message. But anyway, at least we know what we did last time. We added more responsiveness. It's just I wish that I put there which media styles, media queries, breakpoints, and stuff. Did stuff for things, exactly. So as I'm looking through this, though, I am okay with the way it looks for the medium viewport. Or it's like this is mobile specific or extra small if it's on screen, and this is small if it's on screen, and then this at 931 is what I would call medium. Yeah. Okay, so once again, I am fairly happy with the way that it looks. At this size, we don't have the horizontal scroll issue, and that's perfect. It only happens on small and mobile, which is cool. I'm happy with that. Ish. You keep saying that. There's some weirdness going on with the logo. And the other thing that I want to tackle today is the resizing of images, finding what the better approach is, or what at least feels better to me. And I don't think it's going to be scale the image with the width of the window. I mean, it might be. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make sense. And the other thing that would be cool is it would be cool if, that's one of my favorite phrases if you didn't know that, if when you are actually viewing this on a mobile device, instead of looking like a screen, it looks like what the mobile view would look like. But I don't think we're going to be able to do that until we get a redesigned mobile view for the rest of the pages, for the data entry pages. So the first thing that we're going to tackle is this icon issue on... Was it only that large? Oh, there it is. Okay. Interesting. It's like appearing and disappearing. That's very odd. Why is that? Well, we're gonna find out, aren't we? Aren't we? So I'm gonna put a border on the logo wrapper, not the logo itself yet, just to see if the logo wrapper is the thing that's causing it to clip. Now let's watch it closely. Front-end development, an exercise in frustration. Most of the time, yes. Okay, it does not look like it is the wrapper. Good. So the oh wait, there's another wrapper. Oh, right, because the component itself has a wrapper. Blech. Whoops. What about you? Are you causing it? It is weird though, because I'm going like back and forth so much on UI. I enjoy the process of using Figma and just mocking things up. That was really enjoyable. But when it comes to thinking about what it's supposed to look like, that part is really difficult for me. Okay, this also doesn't look like it is the wrapper on the actual logo component. I wonder if it's some kind of aliasing. Okay, so this is the SVG for the logo itself, and that's doing fine. But just in case, let's go ahead and do all SVGs. We'll also get a border 1 pix solid. Yeah, so I gave it a buffer on the right side, so it's going to be a little bit off-centered, not pixel perfect, which may get annoying. I wonder if there is a way. Yeah, because as soon as you get into the SVG, everything is going to be aligned to the top left. And I don't know if there is actually a way to what's the word I'm looking for? To tell it to use the origin like maybe in the middle of the SVG. But then that means that I would have to find a way to get all of the calculations, all of the paths calculated from that point, from that origin. And I don't know how to do that. Here's the shadow. And there are the petals. Petals. Okay. Whatever I did for your width, I want to do on text as well. Oops. Except I can't because that changes the actual size of the text to be that width. And you can see it's still wobbling. It's got to be aliasing of some sort. Is this even a thing? Can you calc using auto? I didn't think so. Like, get to whatever size you would get to and then add some amount, but that's not going to work. Okay. Yeah, so the size of the SVG is definitely changing as I change the size of the viewport. And why is that? I'm not telling it to. Can I add to the view box maybe? Can I tell the view box to be wait, isn't it width and then height? Not height and then width? Am I looking at the wrong one? Yes. Okay, let's get rid of these decimals. See what happens. Didn't make any visible difference. All right, let's get rid of the border. There are still times when it gets clipped. Okay, I'm going to go into the actual icon itself, the icon component, logo component, I mean, and tell it to get rid of those decimals and see what happens. See if it just looks weird. What I'm hoping it does is it gives it some buffer space to the right and to the bottom. And maybe I need more than just that decimal amount. I need a whole pixel horizontally. How do I get to the code? Hello? Logo, logo, logo. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like just this little clipping issue on an SVG, you could spend hours on, unless, you know, you've already encountered it before, you know how to fix it. But we have the time, thank goodness, in this project. If it were a, actually, no, I'm not gonna lie. If it were a product that I was giving to a client, I would spend the time to fix this little quirk because I noticed it. So next, change you to 256 horizontally and 43 vertically. See what that does. Are you still running from last stream? Ooh, ooh. This is promising. And the answer is yes. That did fix it. Or that did prevent the issue from happening. As far as a fix, I don't know if I could call that the correct fix. Maybe it does have something to do with using the, what is that attribute? The one for anti-aliasing. Oh, I've been feeling my left shoulder creep up a lot more lately as I've been streaming. It's been like, and so much stress in that shoulder. Okay, you guys have the attribute used for, no you don't. Is it CSS that I used for it? Loco. It's called, none of these. How do I keep losing this? Gradient units? But I remember there being something else. Everyone expand. Enhance. It is called, not isolate. Come on, boys. It's called, it might be gradient. Well, no, gradient units is specifically for gradients. Why else would it be called gradient units? Something about smoothing. smoothies. SVG smoothie. CSS. Shape rendering. Shape rendering is the thing that I was looking for. What are the possible values on shape rendering? Geometric precision, optimize speed, auto, which is probably the default. So let's try shape rendering geometric precision. But would that be on the text elements? Like on all of these? Speed, yeah. Customers always want speed. Whatever makes it faster. All right, let's try it on the second set of letters. What happened? Okay, until it's not precise. Then they want precise. And then fast. Fast too. It needs to be both. Ew. I think that made it worse. What do you look like without again? It looks the same. Why does the text suddenly look wavy? Am I just seeing things now? No, I pushed the wrong button. I really need a break button on my keyboard. You have a wave bottom line now. I meant to control F5 this. Like, oh man, it's Friday. Oh wait, Napalm was just asking. It could be Friday. Oh geez. Am I just seeing things now? Because even the copyright text looks like it's got a wave. I think I might be seeing things. I think your eyes are broken. Let's find out. Let's put another border on this again. Border bottom, 1px solid. Adding -1 pix. How do you move the... You can't go negative padding. How am I supposed to move the bottom of the thing up? What happened to the line in the F? My gosh, has it been like this the whole time? Am I just like looking for things now? Images, logo. Excuse me. I'm drinking tea. The tagline is 100% wonky. Are you talking about my tagline? No, I know what you mean. Oh, and I applied it to the wrong one anyway. I was supposed to apply it to these. All right, what happens if we put geometric precision on these? No, I can't. That's what it says. Why are you being so weird right now? Why? Give me just one. Arigato. And now, pasta you here. Save. Do you think it has to do with changing the container viewbox? No, it doesn't have to do with changing the viewbox because it still looks the same with the viewbox at its original value. Okay, so here's the decision on this. We need a logo, again, from the designer that has a thicker second line, because right now this probably wouldn't really pass the contrast. It says 0 contrast errors. Oh, right, because that's not actual text, so it wouldn't try to pick this up and evaluate it as if you're trying to read text. Oh, man. How in the world am I supposed to test an SVG for accessibility? Okay, well, what I'm trying to get to is that we're going to leave the logo alone. I'm happy with the N no longer looking like it's clipped, and that won't draw attention to the wonkiness of the kind of wavy looking thing. It's so weird. The more I look at it, the worse it gets, like especially right here. Oh, it's so weird. Okay, I'm happy with it ish. Let's move on. Git commit. Fixed minor issue with logo clipping. There, not many words. Points you to the place to look for in code. So then the other thing that I wanted to look at and get working better, as I said, is the resizing of the images. What is the appropriate way to do this? So I'm going to do some research on how other sites do it, starting with one of my favorites. Napalm says, okay, I will tell my boss to TBD Gamer. Oh, because there was other conversation. Holy cow. TBD said to Napalm, you get a special 4-day weekend. You have my permission. And then Napalm said, okay, I'll tell my boss. Perfect. More coffee. I now have 4 back-to-back meetings about completely different topics. I end the day with a one-on-one. What? I don't know how you pronounce that, but I say one-on-one with my manager after getting a less than stunning review from my previous manager. What could go wrong? Nothing. Opportunities are going to open for you. It's going to be great. Look at me. I'm a 7. Interesting. Okay. So this image here is kind of like what I have with the hero section. I have text on the left and an image on the right. And as you are resizing, nope, that was a lie. I was about to lie. Thank you so much for the lurk, TBD. Thanks for being here. Why are you taking up so much memory too? Why are you being weird? Okay. As I am scrolling, or not scrolling, shrinking the size of the viewport. Oh, lots of stuff is happening. Things are crashing. Yes. Did that give me dropped frames or anything? Or overloaded? Encoding overloaded. No drop frames. CPU is at, I think that's supposed to be 70% and not 0.7%. Yeah, my CPU is being tasked by task manager. No. Who's eating my CPU? Edge, go away. I don't need Edge open right now. Who else? 81%. Edge is still running, supposedly. Probably from all of the apps that use web view controls, such as in Visual Studio. It did take me down to 40% CPU usage. I always blame Teams when my machine slows down. You know what? I'm gonna close Teams. I will take your suggestion. Quit Teams. I guess the other thing that I recently added to my computer is this Focusrite amp thing. And I'm afraid to change my audio source while the stream is going. But I don't need to because I'm not using that for audio at the moment. So, which cable are you? You're a black cable. It's a little bit thinner than that one. This off. Anything? No. Okay. What else? Man, I wish there was a way to see what processes have spawned the Edge browsers. Because again, they could just be web views. Oh well, if the stream dies, it's my fault. I am ending task on Edge. Looks like we're still going. Good news. And Visual Studio, are you still running? Okay. So there was something that was using Edge browser that was eating my processor. And hello, Abishkar Kaffel. I butchered it. I tried though. Just wanted to greet you and say hello, welcome in. Welcome to the stream if you haven't been here before. I am a .NET developer working on a financial management tracker application. It's just a stream project. It's for fun. It's open source. And by fun, I mean I'm trying to do it the way that I would approach any client project. So I'm trying to make it pretty realistic to how I write software. Cool. Ooh. And yeah, you can check it out on GitHub. once we're done with this part, we've been talking about what to do next. So the majority of the application is done, and I'm just working on UI redesign because I wanted to gain some skills in UI. What happened to Jew? Yeah, and my mobile studio is being very weird. You know what else? Mouse without borders. So I have one of those conspiracy theories about the way that about how software works. And there are some software companies that if they have an update, they start making the app crash or have weird behavior so that you do update in order to whatever they want you to do with their update. So like when you have a Windows update that's pending, it seems like your OS starts to slow down a lot, or random apps crash when they haven't before. And so here, Mouse Without Borders said that my API, what is it? My whatever key is used to sync the computers together is about to expire, and I should renew it. And suddenly it stopped being Mouse Without Borders. I couldn't move my mouse across and get to the other thing. Anyway, do you mind if I call you Abish or Abi? Please let me know what you prefer. But anyway, they're saying I'm planning to make my own .NET web application for me to open a startup and start learning or earning. Start earning. Man, I'm adding bunches of letters to your words. Well, definitely encourage that. I love .NET as a application platform, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't be using it. And we have a community of developers that are usually pretty willing to help out people. Okay, I will call you Abi. Unless you otherwise tell me. So even though you said that now, you can change your mind at any point in time. So do you have ideas on what kind of application you're going to work on? What industry is your company going to be going into? And this content is so sparse, though. That's the thing that I don't like about this. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to look at is the resizing of these pictures, because I really don't like it. It works in the hero section because it's slight. Oh, I guess that was the other thing, is that it wasn't constant. It didn't grow until forever on the Fidelity website. It stopped at some point, which is this size. Then as I made the page smaller, which is still pretty laggy. I wonder if it's just the site itself is taking a lot of resources. The picture isn't resizing yet. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, so the picture didn't resize until... yeah, right around here. Until the maximum width of the content was hit, and then... yeah, it's still resizing based off of the width of the screen. So it's not terrible. I just really don't like what it looks like on our app. Abby says, yes, it will be a school management system. I remember because of course I've had tons of random experiences that just happen to line up with what people say. There was someone that I was starting to work with that was wanting a school management system for, I think it was, actually it was any K through 12, now that I remember. And they had things where they wanted to track students, teachers, assignments, all that fun stuff. And that kind of just fizzled away. I didn't have very much interaction. But that was going to be my first web application project that I would have done on my own. And I really didn't have the skills to be doing it at that point in time. But I tried and I learned a lot. So I definitely wish you the best with that. If anything, you're going to learn a lot. What's your comfort level with software development? Have you been doing it a while? Are you brand new to it? Is this going to be your first official project? What were the other ones that I keep going to? Market match. Ill. This one just looks terrible. Yeah, this is the kind of thing that I'm thinking where the pictures stay a static size until you hit a breakpoint. And then the images will scale based off of the width of the viewport. What about these smaller thumbnail images? Those stay a fixed size. Oh, until you get to that extremely small. First official project. Yeah, well, definitely feel free to use this as a resource if you want, if you have questions on it. On Fridays, I have community days on this channel, and that's a day where I turn to you guys and say, what topics would you like to discuss? And that includes projects and just questions that you have about something that you may be working on. And we take a couple hours to look at it. Ooh, I like this header. So this header is kind of what I was going for-ish. Sorry, what our designer was going for. Where you kind of have this full image background. Wow, they did this so subtly. So to make the text stick out, they did give it a background that was 0 with some opacity, 0 with some transparency, I should say. Actually, no, it was 0 with some opacity because it's more transparent than it is opaque. So I did say it the way that I intended. Anyway, it was really hard to see this line at first until you're looking for it. And then you see that it's actually going all the way across, but it's so subtle and it just kind of fits in there. It's very nice. And there is a little bit of it almost looks like parallax. So if we look at this line here, it's at the top of that green thing. Yeah. So there is a bit of parallax. And I think the parallax comes from the top bar. As soon as you scroll down, the top bar collapses immediately, which then moves everything else up, all of these text elements. Yeah, and then you can even see the parallax happening here. So I kind of wanted something like this, but I ended up just picking the version of our inspiration, which were, yeah, can click. Really, I can. Which were text on the left and then some kind of image representing the app on the right. I don't have it in interesting ways that these apps do. Man. or not apps, but these designs, I guess. It's very in your face square. And then these are kind of like, you know, if you're posing for a picture, it's rarely the case that you should just be square on the camera. It's like there's better angles if you turn to the side a little bit or something. I don't know. That's kind of what this feels like to me, where you got this one image. Like even here, there's this feeling of he's not straight at the screen, even though he's probably centered with his arms, but he's looking down and to his left. Versus this, which is here's this flat thing, here's this flat thing, and it's straight at the camera, not offset, not at an angle. Nothing interesting about it other than it's the app. I think we just need to get those pages redesigned before we start trying to fix that, I guess. Okay. Man, I am really tempted to just say that we're gonna go with the resizing. No, I want a max width on these. I want a max width. I'm not happy with that. Last of type. All right, here, max width of some hard-coded value like 980. Yeah, then I'll have to figure out how to center it. Yeah, it wasn't the other site. It was definitely my browser. Look at that. It's all like, yeah. Problem with position fixed or position absolute is that it's a little bit harder to center something and then offset it just enough. Okay, we're gonna fix that though. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna say max width of some value, and that value will be a custom CSS property that we can change at will, but we will specify it in root. Not in root, because it will only apply to those images. So we'll do it only in that section. So all images will have a max width of 980 pixels. And the thing that we will center is the preview image wrapper. And we'll give this thing the width that we're giving the images. Order. Ooh, more message. Solid. Abby says, I am right now in full planning phase of the project, like designing databases, DFD. I don't know what DFD is. I know what DDD is. Is that like design forward? Yeah, what is DFD? Teach me. Etc. Then I will start the development of my application in multi-tenancy. Awesome. I'm trash in terms of front end. That's how I feel. Chances are you are better than you think you are. It just takes a lot more effort, and the desire to put effort into front end is so low for developers like us. We're like, I want to work on the functionality part of it. I don't care about all of this design and UI, and I just want to make things work. Data flow diagrams. Okay, So ERDs and if you are using any kind of state, then state diagrams, use case diagrams. It's cool that you are doing the full design approach, because that's what my intention was with this application. I really, really, really wanted to design this application fully. Oh, you need a max width too. I really wanted to design this fully, and Pacos, come on, brain. I am losing my train of thought today. So bad. I want to respond to that. I wanted to do the whole entire design process fully for this application, so that when you are, if you happen to watch this back, because I post all my videos to YouTube, that you would be able to see one approach to fully implementing an application as a full stack developer, and that it would be a good approach. It would at least give some good examples of how to do some of the things, because I'm not a perfect developer by any stretch of the imagination. There's so much that I could learn, that I could do better, but I do have my opinions on how things could be done in a good way, so that the application itself ends up being a good application. Okay, that's working the way that I want. So the next thing that I want to do is center the wrapper. And to center the wrapper, we're going to go margin 0 auto. Did I give you any other margin? I did not. Okay, that moves the first picture to the center, and the second picture will be offset to the right. So this is where I need to redo my positioning of the images, and all images are going to be position absolute, which really bites. I need one of the images to not be position absolute, so that we get some height on it. If anyone has any information, this is me soliciting, if anyone has any information about how in CSS I can make an element position absolute, spelled correctly, and still have it take up the amount of space that it would have taken up if it wasn't position absolute. Now, the thing that I kind of remember was a clear fix. That doesn't seem to work. And then I also have another element called with a class name of clearfix that does this as well, that I thought was supposed to give us where this element would be if the other elements weren't position absolute. Abby says, this is a project where my friend is also a part of. He is an Android developer using Flutter, so right now I just need to make the APIs. That's awesome. You get to work purely back end for the most part. I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you. And you know how tiring and brain drilling database design is. Yeah, but it's still a lot more fun in my opinion than UI design and development. Napalm says, I thought you needed a nesting thing position relative with an absolute in there. Okay, I have, well, okay, here's the thing. Well, yes, I do have position relative. Just remember that anytime you have position absolute, it's going to be relative to the nearest parent that has either one of position absolute, fixed, or relative. And so if I didn't specify position absolute here, then yes, it would have gone up to be relative to the next parent. And if that parent doesn't have position absolute fixed or relative, then it would have gone up to the next parent. And it would have gone all the way up until it got to body. But I do have position relative. But the thing that's happening is when you make something position absolute, it takes it out of the calculated space for the parent container. So it takes up 0 height, 0 width in the parent container. And what I want it to do is still give me the absolute width and height. I guess what I could do for the image that is not going to be position absolute, I can also I hate CSS. I like it because it does feel puzzly, and I do like puzzles. I would have just yoinked some HTML and CSS from CodePen and modified it. True. And I do typically fall back to that. I try to find someone else's how they did it, but I do like to give it some tries first, using the knowledge that I have so that I can try to reinforce it, because I actually am trying to gain UI skills. All right, so what I'm going to do with this one is give it a margin 0 auto as well, so that the image itself is centered. Then transform translate x, translate x minus, and it'll be the same transform as this, picture left offset over 2. And I need a calc. Okay. Why aren't you? Because you're centered to the screen itself. You should be centered to the parent component, though. Oh. Because I'm telling it to go the wrong way. -1 times this. Or I could just divide by -2. There we go. That is closer. That's too far. But that means I don't, I do need to make you position absolute because of the top. So if I made you left 50%, and then I made you calc 50% minus or plus minus 50% plus over 2. Oh dear. Yes, that did it. Oh my gosh. So the thing is that the picture left and yeah, picture left offset is too much. But it definitely did the overlapping that I wanted it to, keeping it centered, and then a max width. Oh, okay. I don't think I know that GIF, but yeah. So what is your story of doing .NET? I'll try to make it brief. I am pretty long-winded, and I apologize for that. So if you do get bored, you can just tune me out. But I started to talk about my story of .NET. I need to talk about my development story, and that is that when I was very little, my dad got a Commodore 64. It had a really large book that had some code in it that you could type on the screen and make things do stuff on the screen. And that's the first thing that got me interested in creating a thing on a screen. But I thought that I was going to be more into physical creating things, so being an inventor of technology, hardware type stuff. I tried taking things apart, failed at it, sucked at it, didn't like physical things anyway. Um, and then I knew maybe starting around the age of 8 or 9, I don't know, but I started getting really into computers. This was a long time ago when computers were barely household things. Um, and then by the time I was 14, I was helping neighbors and friends' parents fix their computers. And I got really into that aspect of it. And then I was like, oh, software is really fun. I like manipulating software, especially software that other people created. Then I'm like, you know what? I want to make things myself. I always wanted to be an inventor. I sucked at making physical things, but I'm pretty good with the software aspect of computers. So maybe I'll look at doing software development. So then I was 14. This is around 1996 ish. And I just knew that I wanted to do software in some way. But I had never actually picked up any formal software development education stuff. YouTube wasn't around yet. I didn't really know about internet searching. We had dial-up at the time. It just come out in our area, and it was 28.8, and then it got boosted to 56K. Oh, it was so good. It's such blazing fast internet. So, it still didn't really touch doing software development, but I knew that I wanted to do software development. Then I started playing a little bit with VB in high school, but I was more into music, like doing Noteworthy Composer, Sibelius, Finale, all of those programs to compose music. And then I was more focused on that for a while, but I still had this passion for software development, but never got around to learning actual software development. But I had made it up in my mind that I'm going to go to university to learn to be a software developer, so I don't need to do it now. And then in 2000, started my university career in the computer science program, failed at it, did terrible, took me 9 years to graduate, and then I graduated computer science, bachelor's degree in computer science, yay. Because one day, during all of that, it just clicked for me. And it was C, C++, Java, PHP. That's what you learned in university, in the formal education system. No .NET, no nothing like that. But the place that I was working at, they had applications that I'm like, I want to help improve these applications. I had already done some VB6 stuff and VBA macros for the Office applications and things that we used. And they allowed me an opportunity to go on this temporary developmental position where I was helping with the actual human resources software that we were using in the office. I got to go to the headquarters place where they were developing that software, helped out there, tried to add some functionality to it that would be cool if we could, and saw that they were using VB. They were using web forms with VB code behind. Not even ASP.NET yet. It was still ASP Classic web forms. So I learned that. And I got to use that. And then when I learned about MVC, then I started learning MVC in .NET. Started with MVC 3 and started making web applications. Oh, and I did forget to mention, in university, the thing that I focused on was database design and database for enterprise systems and yeah, all that stuff. So I took that. Any CGI devs? I did some CGI for the applications. Like a lot of their main human, like the human resources portal, had CGI. I don't know what they're called, scripts for just about all of the processes, for getting employee data, for updating employees and all that. But I was working on this other system that managed the job descriptions for various positions. And so I was adding smart technology to it. And it was fun, I guess. But mostly, I took the knowledge that I had from university about databases and also about how to persevere and stick with a thing for long enough until you finally get it, which kind of was a boost to my ego because that's what I do naturally anyway. Exactly. Okay, so Avi is saying in university you expect to do cool shit, but you always end up writing reports instead of doing cool shit. We did do some cool stuff, but it was mostly in languages that I didn't care about. There was this operating system class that I took maybe 3 or 4 times and failed 3 or 4 times, however many times I took it. I never passed that class. I just didn't understand it. It never clicked. But the Java class, the application class, where you're writing applications for existing operating systems, whether it be Linux or Windows, and I guess Mac, but not really a big thing at the time. Yeah, so anyway, I just got really into the web development stuff. I finished my university career and moved with my job because my permanent position was actually in a different state. So when I graduated, my position became a permanent full-time employee position. I moved with it, and I was still doing human resources for another 4 years. Actually, it would be a total of 7 years. We got here in 2018, 9 years. Yeah, for another 9 years before I actually got a position that was a software development role. So during that time, though, I was approached by people just asking for websites that they wanted or web applications. And I started trying to help them, but I wasn't skilled enough to finish any of those projects. And that gave me really bad imposter syndrome. I'm like, I'm working federal service, which is a very comfortable feeling position that doesn't feel like you're going to lose your job. You have to worry about the contract getting re-upped or anything like that. And I was just doing work that I absolutely did not like. And it was a very, very dark time for me. Just because I saw Snubble write Darkling, I had to use the word dark. Apparently. So yeah, it was anyway, I finally got a software development job where they let me use whatever technology I wanted. They said it did have to be a Microsoft port, but it was to port some JSP applications from JSP to a Microsoft technology, whatever I chose. And I already had plenty of opinions and experience with doing MVC applications with SQL backend, and I was able to port those applications over. The previous team that was working on those applications and maintaining them said it would take us 4 years per app. And it took me about a year and some change to convert all of them except for one. And then that other one took me another year on top of that. But we kept it as a desktop app. Oh yeah, the desktop apps were VB6. And yeah, anyway, long story short, I didn't officially start working in .NET until 2017, I want to say. But I had been playing with it and doing side projects and everything personally since about 2009 or earlier. And software development, learning it formally starting in 2000, playing with it since 1984, 85, when I was very, very baby. I was born with a computer in my hand. Okay, so that's my story. What's your story? And if anyone ever does want to take a community day stream to tell us your software development story, I would love to hear it. I love hearing people's dev journey. We got to hear TBD's. He recently celebrated 25 years in the industry on Friday, this past Friday, and had his own community day, and then he was kind enough to join ours. It was really cool. So it was good times. Okay, So catching up on chat now. In university, you read that, just like in work. Yep. Abby said, I need to learn how to deploy my API web application. It's such a hassle. It's a lot easier than you think. It's hard to find the resources because you don't know what exactly you're looking for, maybe. But once you figure that part out, you're going to be like, oh, I didn't know that I could just push a button. That's something, if you have questions about, you can definitely feel free to ask. Okay, and then Snubble said, look at Darklang. It's cool stuff. I usually save these for community days, but I do like the name of it. This looks like JavaScript. Anything that takes this much work to set up, it's like, I don't think I want to learn this language. And that's just a me thing. This looks F sharpish. Is that what I'm thinking? Maybe Python. Okay, I looked at it. We can look at it closer if you want to bring it up again on community day, but it's not really looking all that special to me. I don't like the syntax. And again, this is just my personality, my opinion, and that's because I'm only glancing at it, and it's probably really cool. The language isn't the thing. Okay, cool. Yeah, and I don't want to say it in a way where you have to like defend it or like you feel attacked. I'm just stating my opinion, my initial impression. Gomenasai. I need to be a little bit more thoughtful about that. It's that you can easily create cloud functions and cloud storage very quickly. Cool. So it's kind of you can build CLIs and cloud apps, just code. Yeah, so it's pretty much like what Aspire is trying to be, where it does all of the orchestration for you. You write code and then it sets all the things up for you for deployment, for resources. Abby says, I have been cheated out of my work money 2 times already, so I am afraid searching for jobs. Therefore, I will create my own job. I mean, that's really cool. Yeah, $188, but I am not from US. Is that 186? I don't know where I got 88 from, per hour, because that's pretty good even for US. Or is that per week, per day? Thank you, Dukasoft. I was thinking about doing that. Irish John Games, he's always so kind to us. He's a game developer working on a game called Rise of Piracy with 3 R's. Piracy. You can check him out on Steam. Early access is coming soon. He's going to announce a early access release date when he gets partner, not if, when he gets partner. 186 per month. Yeah, I don't really know what that translates to for your area, but yeah, I don't know. Okay, so Snobble was talking about this Darklang. He was saying, I just saw some cool videos on it, and since Abby complained that it was difficult to deploy, perhaps they would like Darklang. I think it's even more radical than Aspire. but to be honest, I don't know that much. Probably total. I said probably total. I might have said, oh, probably total. Okay. Yeah. Or Clojure. Uncle Bob would never accept Darkling. It's not Java. Yeah. Oh, this is so hard to bite back. I want to allow you the opportunity to recommend whatever products you want, but if you're just recommending something to someone because you heard a thing about it and it might fit their situation, it's kind of like research this thing for me so I don't have to kind of feeling. And yeah, instead maybe recommend something that you know has helped and worked. But recommend whatever you want. It's so hard for me to just leave it at that. Napalm says, I'm partial to Java-esque languages. It's equivalent to 25K in our country. Oh, wow. And that's per month, you said. That's pretty good. I have some local infrastructure for the hosting and cloud, so I might contact them when I'm ready to deploy. So I've used AWS for deployment of simple web applications. I mean, simple. Yeah, I guess I'll call them simple. So essentially, you set up your resources similar to, I guess I won't even say that. You set up resources for where your application is going to live. And in Visual Studio, if you're a .NET developer, there are tools for you to deploy your application, to publish your application to that resource. So think of creating a file folder on your hard drive and moving your code into that whenever you publish. And then there's something that's able to, when a request comes in, read that file and then serve it out. And that's your website. So they have a service called Elastic Beanstalk, and you pretty much send your published application to that service and it will host your website for you. It's similar to in Azure. Same thing. You create a resource, Azure Static Web Apps, Azure App Functions. So App Functions would probably be where you put your API, or Azure App Service. So you can turn your API into an app function pretty easily, and that's pretty cheap. Or you can use App Service and just host your API directly like that. But the point is that once you learn those technologies, you can apply them across the board to cloud technologies. They're pretty similar across the board. And you find out, set up a resource, find out how to push your code to it, and your app is hosted. Something that takes a little bit more is if your app has a whole bunch of other services connected to it, like messaging services or queues or other resources that you would need, and trying to get them to talk to each other can be a pain. Then there is authentication and authorization that comes into play, and now it's super complicated because auth is just complicated. International money exchange is very difficult to do where I live due to our central banking being a dick to, so AWS, Azure are a bit difficult, and bank requires $1,000 deposit on the bank to be able to obtain dollar card, and $1,000 is equivalent to 134,000 US dollars. So, jeez, wow. Or no, 1,000 US dollars is equivalent to 130. Wait, no, I don't know. I can't do money exchange in my head either. But I have some, yeah. Anyway, point is, I just updated Discord. Now it's crashing on startup. Yay! Oh, that doesn't sound good. I apologize for any inconvenience that may be causing you. Duka duka duka. Hope you're well, regardless. Oh. Do I seem nervous to you? I feel nervous. I don't know why. I feel awkward, and I'm trying not to be. Back to this. Let's get rid of this border and change the size of the offset. Yeah, let's do that. No border. Picture offset, let's make 6. And then let's make the top offset 3. Okay, I like that better. And it stays consistent until its max width. I like that a lot. I like that a lot more better. And then when it hits the breakpoint, then at this breakpoint, we need to change those 2 offsets. And that is this breakpoint here. Oh, and we need a selector of some sort. Oops. I know what buttons I'm pushing. Copy. But hi Dukasoft, I hope you are well other than your Discord being a pain to you after updating. Hope it's been a good day. Alright, and then we're going to change you to... Let's keep the top, the up and down the same, but have this. Yeah. Okay, so at this breakpoint, it looks like that. At this breakpoint, it looks like this. Down, 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 down. Ooh, that gets dicey. Still not the worst. Okay, I'm happy-ish with that too. I'm gonna call it good. You know I'm gonna call it good? Because we're almost done with this redesign, and I just want to be done with it. Once again, I wanted you to have the genuine experience of potential thoughts that would go through my head as I'm working on a client project. And one of them is, do I really want to keep spending time on this, or do I just want to be done with this application? When I get to the point where I feel like I want to be done with the application, then I know that I need to be more careful with the decisions that I make, because I'll just accept close enough when close enough is not even close enough. Yeah. It looks fine, ship it. And Snobble said to President, not sure, Uncle Bob seems to become interested in Clojure of late. I've heard of it. I still don't find any need for any of these really cool, helpful technologies yet. Because all of my apps, like I said, they're fairly simple as far as hosting. I have an EC2 instance, which is just a virtual machine running in AWS that I can log into and manage that way, that has IIS on it, and I deploy my applications to it using Azure DevOps. Clojure isn't cool. It's 1950s tech. Retro is cool. That's what I'm getting from today's content that is everywhere on the interwebs. I'm trying to save this page. Why did I even open a new tab? All right, we fixed all the things for small to large displays. Now let's see what this looks like in extra large display. Wow. Yeah, so the hero section picture is allowed to grow. It doesn't have a max width. These sections stay at their maximum content width, which doesn't look good on a really large screen unless we get everything to stay within that column. And it's not really all that fair because, you can barely read the font. But when you think about a large screen, it's also usually a bigger display too. But yeah, maybe an ultra wide would be the thing that we consider. And it doesn't really work here either because this is 1080 height. And ultra wides are typically like 21 high, tall. So it's kind of hard for me to test on that. Maybe if I did this screen for a second. Yeah, it doesn't look great. I do like this background repeating. I just wish that I could tell the edges to be more fuzzy. Fuzzy. Gosh. Now I'm kind of just like I'm okay with it like this. What does what does another website like this one look like if I did the same thing? All of the content stays in the middle. Yeah, so I think what I need to do then is give the hero section a max content width as well. And it's going to be the max content width of all of the other sections plus some buffer. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know, man. Cotton. Hero. Is it in hero or is it in index? Since it's the page itself that's determining the size of its children elements. It's not here. Oh, it's probably defined out here because it is for everything, which is default max content size. I'm pretty sure I called it. Here it is. Default content max width. I was wrong. So hero, man, I want to define it in index on the page that uses the hero section. Hero. I don't even have a rule in here for hero at the moment. You are a header. Do I have a rule for header? I do not. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna cheat a little bit. Max width. Oh, That's main layout. Try again. Hero. Max width is going to be 1920 pix. And that's the max width of the content inside of Hero. That's not to say that the Hero section or that the website can't grow beyond 1920 pix. It's just to say that the Hero section will grow no more than 1920 pix. The image is based off of the viewport width as opposed to the content width. I mean, containers width. No, it's not. It's 100%, which means the container's width, not the app's width, especially when it's not position absolute. Confusing. Let's make sure that those styles did apply. Hero. You should have... sorry for all the flashing. I should turn that off while I'm trying to find rules for a specific element and not the element itself. If I could remember how. There should be a setting that says highlight elements on hover. Reveal DOM node on hover. Wasn't that setting? Just try not to move my mouse around too much and make it flashy. Okay, we did get a max width of 1920. I breathe before going back under for more meetings. How's your CSS nightmare going? I essentially ended it, terminated it. The last thing that I am going to do for this CSS redesign is to tell the hero to have a max width so that the image doesn't continue growing. To infinity. And I did that, so the hero section does have a max width of 1920, but the image is still growing, and I thought that it was because it was based, the width of the image was based off of the viewport width, but it says that it's based off of the container, which is at 100%, and its container is also with 100%. So it should, in theory, be no wider than the hero header, which is the closest container that would have a fixed width. Is it because the grid continues to grow? No, it's... Oh, the first column of the grid takes up 1 FR. And if I gave that a min width, then that would fix it. We'll give it a min width of like 80. That wrong. What I meant was min max. But yes, that did work. That did what I wanted it to do. Now the other thing that I need is the content to be in the center. Easiest way to do that currently is to say margin 0 auto. So it stays in the center. What stays in the center? Yeah, and then min of I don't like this rule. It is based off of VW though. What if I just fix that? That's better. Okay, the other thing that I want to do then, now that I see this, is on ultra wide, just change the base font size and we should be good to go. Not medium min. X large. Base font size. I did call it base font size, right? I did. All right, let me just make sure that this works by changing it to something crazy like 32 pixels. It doesn't. Why not? Because, because that's defined on root, and then the actual font size setting is on body. What's min? 1920.1. Why not? Body. Yeah, the media query is not applying to body currently, which means that I probably need to put this in globals and not the isolated CSS file for the layout. Duh, I knew that. Okay, so I need this thing to know about breakpoints, layouts, Sankit, and there we go. That actually doesn't look that bad with a font size of 32 for ultra wide. I mean, it looks better on the higher resolution screens. That looks pretty good. In the super high res. That was just an arbitrary number that I picked. Maybe I'll try 24. And I wish you guys could see this, but I'm only streaming in 1080. And who knows what Twitch is allowing you to pick for quality. But I really like this. I like this a lot. And we fake it. Yeah, so you can see it. Here is 100%. And then when we hit the breakpoint, so imagine that this is now a 4K monitor and we are down to 50%. Then this is what it looks like on the 4K monitor. It's readable. This is maybe still a little bit too spaced apart. I would move it more centered. But yeah, you can read the content. I like it. We're going with it. So, what did we do? Copilot. Oops. Updated hero layout and font sizes for large screens. That is what we did. I'm keeping it. So I'm going to commit and push, and we're going to put a is the phrase "put a pin in it" used to say that we finished with the thing for now, or is it used to say that we have completely finished with the thing and we're putting it away? 1080p 60, unless you're a badass streamer. I'm not. I'm barely a blip on Twitch's radar, which I'm glad for that, by the way. I'm not complaining, not one bit. Okay, we're gonna call this good. That's what I'm gonna say. We're calling this good. We're going to stop with the redesign of the landing page. It is acceptable. I kind of want to make these pictures bigger, allowed to be bigger. I kind of want them to be allowed to be bigger. What would happen if, and this isn't working on it anymore because we're done working on it, but what would happen if we made a quick media query for anything bigger than medium, the card wrapper card image, ooh, that was a deep selector, was allowed to be, what is your rule for your width? Oh, it's got to be the grid. %. Wait, what? Height is auto, min width is 50%. And then it's 100% narrow. Oh, Oh. Okay. So yeah, min width. No, it's not a thing. Media query. Media query. Oh, it's because this is between medium and max. And I want this to be min medium. Man. Ooh, that didn't do what I was expecting it to. So not that. Max width. Width 100%. Yeah, there's got to be something about the card that is keeping the left side from growing. Card wrappers display flex. Justify content. Center align items stretch. Yes. With a gap of 2 M's between the cards. Oh, that's not the card content. I need card. Display flex. Justify content space between is okay, but that also means that it's squishing the left side as far as it can go. So if we told the card body, and I don't think this works in flex, justify self, flex end. Yeah, that doesn't work with flex. Oh no. So Dickasoft recently updated his Discord and it crashes every time he opens it, unless he runs it as admin. That sounds scary. I wouldn't trust any application that didn't previously run as admin to run as admin. Ooh, that's cool. What time? Last up. 6 hours. What's 6 hours from now? Dang. That's too late. That's too late. Okay. I don't like those at all. It's not doing what I want. It needs to be a grid if I was going to do that, which bites because it really is only in one direction. But once again, this is where I'm like, I prefer using grid anyway. I was using flex because it was more appropriate since I'm going in either a column or a row direction. Yeah, I don't like any of these. Okay, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. I think we're gonna call that good. If this were a real client project, I would work on that until I got it looking the way that I wanted. And in this case, what that means is allowing the image in this card to grow when I am on larger screens than medium. That way it can be a better proportion of image to text. Okay, so we're good. We're calling it good. Where's the pin? No changes? That was my last commit ever. Okay, so we have finished with the task of applying the UI design, and that's it. So we are going to GitHub and we're going to do a pull request, because even though I'm a solo developer, I still work in a way as if I was on a team. And that means that any features, any bug fixes, anything like that that I do is done in a branch. And I still go through the pull request process just so that if I ever do join a team again, I do that naturally. Yeah. The end. So I am the reviewer. It's for this project. It is for completed number 52. Applied UI design. Implemented UI design for the landing page. UI redesign. Okay, so I create the pull request, and all of you lovely people are going to see the message because you're all a part of my team, and you all get notified that there is a pull request pending, and you're going to be like, I'm in the middle of a feature, someone else will take care of it. And then I have to poke you in the next stand up and be like, well, I have a pull request open, you know, in that kind of sly but not really sly because everyone does it kind of way. I have a pull request open for the UI redesign so that it can be in the next release. If someone has time to review it, that'd be great. So anyway, that is a commit history. We have checks. What? Build and deploy runs on the pull request itself. That doesn't make sense. The only time the build and deploy should run is on the merge. So that's weird. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, it failed anyway. Is there no easy way to see what the failures were? Workload, success, publish. This looks like an error. The reference project does not exist. Really? That's very weird. TypeScript error. The specified task executable node could not be run because there was a error. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't want that build to work anyway. Back to the pull request. So the thing that matters is that our tests passed and we went through and reviewed the changes. Oh, this is cool. This is really cool. I don't think that I've seen this part of GitHub, of a pull request on GitHub, where it says, here are the places that have warnings. I like that a lot. I like this a lot. How do I thumb that? How do I tell them that this is a good feature? It's in beta. I want to submit feedback that this was a good choice. Okay, well, I'm frozen now. There we go. We reviewed the code and we said, yes, it's good to go. Why are you being so slow? And why can't I approve the changes? Is it because I can't approve my own PR? We're running out of time, so I will go ahead and say that we performed the review. We submitted our approval. If we had comments, we would have done it. Come on. We're going to merge this to main. And then just to finish up the process that I would normally do, since I am not planning on coming back and doing more work on this branch, I am deleting the branch. Scary. And then I am in my local branch, going back to main, pulling main. And let's say that I was working on multiple features or tasks, then it would be at this point that I look at those other branches that I have and determine whether or not now is a good time to pull main into them before I continue doing more development. A lot of times in the past, I've waited until I was done with those specific tasks to just before doing the PR for that branch to merge main into it. And then I had a lot more conflicts than I would if I, at this point in time, whatever stage I'm at in that task, pulled main. So let's say that this just playing branch was one that was an actual feature or a task. I would just pull main into it. Build must be stopped. Who's building? Oh, and there's changes. So I would say, oh, unless this is the merge. Abort the merge. I forgot to actually look at what changes might need to be made, or what changes might be pending. There are none. Then yes. Merge main into this branch. There are conflicts. I would resolve those conflicts. And there are no conflicts. Oh, there are. There is. Man, I hate solution changes. Solution conflicts. Oh dear. GitHub workflows, Azure Static Web Apps. Yeah, that's probably where that one came from. I do want that, but I also want this. So I think we're keeping both changes in this branch specifically. So yes, we're keeping both. Then I will commit and push my staged. And that's it. And that way my dev branches are always up to date with main, with whatever gets merged to main. And of course, you can really only do this when you realize that there are changes to be merged in. Or sorry. You can really only do this when you realize that there has been a commit to main while you're still working on your app, on your dev branch. Man, I am out of words. Let's just go to this scene. Thank you all for being here. I had a wonderful time. I hope you had a wonderful time. I was tripping over myself a lot and saying a lot of weird things because I can't talk today apparently, but I am excited to get back to work. We are going to figure out where we're going. Just you. Whoosh. And he's at his starting screen, which is, it's a known bug. Okay, so don't update Discord yet. Dukasoft has been keeping us up to date with his situation. And if you do get the chance, Dukasoft, if you can actually log into Discord, can you post in the resources channel the link to the known issue? And thank you for the stream. We're gonna raid over to Simple Game Dev, who is on his starting soon, but that's gonna make it easier for me to do my post-stream stuff. Because I usually fill myself up with liquids during the 2-hour stream and before the 2-hour stream, but I try to remove those liquids before the stream. But still, too many liquids during the stream. YouTube, Discord, posting, all that stuff. That was the wrong one. Wrong chat again. I did this to Marcus last time. I'm also lurking on Black Mage UK. Okay. Man, I can't believe I interrupted my waiting game to type. Okay. And also, okay. There's YouTube. Feel free to join our Discord. I'll be back on Friday. It'll be community day. Feel free to ask questions, topics, etc. Ciao.